flaws and some areas for improvement moving forward to Wednesday?
Yeah, quality opponent. We knew it was going to be a dogfight. We just got to be better. Me in particular have to play better, especially against a team of this caliber. Yeah, nothing more than that.
How'd you feel about just pace, tempo, both up the floor and in the half court offensively?
Yeah, exactly what I expected. Fast. They play very fast. Yeah, exactly what I expected in the game. Just got to be better out there.
Shai, it looked like you were maybe a little more hesitant than usual attacking early on and then got more aggressive as the game went on. Obviously, they pose a huge challenge defensively. Like, what's your process of feeling out a game like that and how they're playing you?
Yeah, I just try to take what the defense gives me. I think earlier they were like heavier in the gaps, and I had a lot of sprays for open shooters more so, and then I think they loosened up as the game went on, and I was able to find my cracks. Yeah, it's got to be better when I get those cracks, I think.
You talked before about enjoying finding ways to get better as a player, but also just throughout a series, how much do you enjoy the problem-solving aspect of finding ways to be effective against a specific team like this?
Yeah, that's what it's about. That's what this time of year is about. Like, it's the highest level of basketball, and you're going to find out exactly what type of player you are, what type of competitor you are, and exactly what you need to get better at. And it's no different this time of year around.
You talked about the problem solving. Mark mentioned, obviously, Wemby's not an easy guy to go against, but you guys playing them that early in the season, you found a bit of a groove of sort of understanding how to attack him a little bit better. Is there like a feeling out process or like an adjustment period against a shot blocker like that?
Yes, but also just be smart, I think, more than anything. Yes, obviously is very big at the rim, but we still found cracks in it at times. We just got to be willing to work possessions and make sure we get the best shot each time down, and just be patient with that.
Shai, I'm not sure what was more impressive, Alex's defense on Wemby or his shooting tonight. What did you like better?
I can't pick either. It was a great game from Alex. Sad it went to waste. But yeah, he played his butt off tonight. I'm proud of him. But I expect that from Alex, especially this time of year. He always brings it.
The way he played, the way Jalen first came back after the hamstring, to have the guys around you have some, encouraging games, and you guys go to double overtime even on a night you're not pleased with your performance. Is that sort of encouraging to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I know what my teammates are capable of, what we're capable of as a team when we bring it. Just unfortunate I wasn't able to bring my best game tonight, but that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you're your best version, sometimes you're not. You got to roll with the punches, don't get discouraged, and stay true to who you are.
You mentioned you found your cracks a little bit later. How tough is it to shoot over a guy with that kind of length? And one, what the things that you did find, is that something you think you can take for the rest of the series with you?
The second part of your question, I probably wouldn't want to say in public, just 'cause I don't want to give any answers away. But yeah, it's obviously challenging. It's very tall, very long, deters a lot of things at the rim. Like I said before, you got to be smart when you go in there. Be patient, but also be aggressive, and don't be too timid in there. I think you get caught worrying about it too much and you lose aggression, and that's where they really stranglehold on the game. You got to be able to be aggressive, but also be smart.
Obviously, the wounds are still fresh from this game, but how do you sort of bounce back, or how do you use the experience you guys had last year in sort of similar environments, game one against Denver and Indiana, where sort of similar games where it comes down to the end and it just doesn't go your way?
Yeah, I mean, we've been in this situation before, so this feeling's not really new, but it's also a completely different basketball team. But I think that the thing that remains the same is we have to get better with each game. We have to learn the mistakes from the wins and the losses, tonight the losses, and continue to get better. We did that in the previous two when we lost game one. We have to do so again this series if we want to give ourselves a chance.
You mentioned that obviously you guys have been here before. What do you remember about your first playoff loss of your career and just how your mindset has shifted since then? I honestly don't even remember my first loss was to Golden State with Steph and Katie in them, but I don't really remember how it went, to be honest.
I honestly don't remember. But yeah, I've changed a lot since then.
Shai, you mentioned you can't let Wemby take your aggression away. What got you going, like midway through the fourth quarter?
Honestly, I feel like they loosened up a bit in their coverages, and I just felt it was what the game needed to try to be aggressive, touch the paint, make plays. Didn't make enough of them tonight personally, but I think that's what the game needed.
Thanks, guys.
End OKC's 8-game post-game winning streak this season. A lot to talk about here, guys, but we have to start the conversation, of course, with Victor Wembanyama. 41 points.
Start and end with.
24 rebounds. Youngest player ever with a 40-20 postseason game. They threw everything they had at him, but none of it worked. Why not?
Because he is who he is. I mean, you know, he's a smart player. He understands coverages. He understands who's guarding him. When he has a smaller player on him, he just goes to the rim. When he has a bigger player on him, he goes by him. It's like, you know, how can you play against someone like that? Someone that can shoot the ball from half court as well, in a pivotal time of the game, and also someone that can go in and finish by the rim. So, you know, he's definitely, you know, one of a kind. But he also, what makes him so good is the fact that he understands basketball, he understands where he's good. So, you know, when you have a player like that, you know, you just got to pray.
And even that didn't work. Isaiah, there were a lot of concerns about his minutes. Played 49 in this, and he was at his best when it mattered most, late in that double overtime.
Yeah, I think he played a few too many minutes.
Yeah.
As you can see, he was exhausted towards the end. But he got some type of energy the last 2 minutes of the second overtime and made play after play. So that says a lot about his mental state and where he's at, and obviously his physical state of being able to push through. But it is the playoffs, and there's no excuses. And if he's going to be out there, he's going to try to be the best like he was tonight.
If there was a concern for San Antonio as a team, it was the fact that they haven't been in this situation before. So now they go on the road, hostile crowd, MVP getting his trophy, reigning champions, okay, and then they find out before the game, we're not going to have De'Aaron Fox, the guy who is our veteran guy in the backcourt. You got a first-year player and a second-year player outside of him. They don't have him, but then they still go out and they manage to execute better when it counted most. Some rocky points, but they executed better when it counted most in OKC. How'd they do that?
Well, I mean, look, there's no substitute for not having your point guard. You know, Steph Castle did a great job today, filling in that role, so did Dylan Harper, but they still need their point guard. Steph Castle had a great game, 11 assists, also 11 turnovers. But,
so it's a wash.
Yeah, it's a wash. So he had 0 assists. So but the thing about it is what makes them good is that they're scrappy and they continue to fight, and that's coaching, and that's also playing with your leader, who is Victor Wembanyama. Also, the league is going, you know, we've had a league where we focus on the perimeter, but, you know, when it comes down to these games, you have to go to what's easy for him and what you know. You have Victor Wembanyama out there, a 7'5" guy that can play around the rim, also can knock things down. So what happens? When you need a bucket, he goes straight to the rim and they feed him. You know, that's you know, there is no substitute for that. Like,
right.
At the end of the day, you can be as old or as young or have as much experience as possible. The best thing for them is to have the ball in his hands close to the rim, and they did that later in the game.
I see Dylan Harper, 24 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, but 7 steals. Created extra possessions for San Antonio. What do you think about his impact on the game?
Hell of a game. I mean, he's been doing that all playoffs long. Like, he's been playing like he's been a veteran, and he's been in these situations. And I've said it before, I think the inexperience of the Spurs is a positive for them.
Why so?
Because they're going in with nothing to lose.
Yeah.
They got the opportunity to go out there and play, especially the young guys, and they're figuring it out on the fly. So when you got a team that believes in themselves, they have nothing to lose, so they're going out there playing as hard as they possibly can, which the Spurs are doing. You got to tip your hat off to those guys because, like you said, Castle had 11 turnovers, but it's the experience in the playoffs of making those plays as a point guard and fighting and figuring out through those turnovers, how do you move past that? And then the same thing with Dylan Harper. He's just figuring it out on the fly, and that's the most dangerous thing because at the end of the day, they're very talented, they're young, and they're not scared. And that says a lot about how they came out in game one.
Yeah. My guy Steph, like, having 11 turnovers